Yeah, especially combined with the all dungeons parts.
Definitely. Okay, so looks like we got the map inside Sanctuary and the Moon Pearl inside Link's house to start off here. And very quickly, just for those who are joining, just a refresher on the settings. This is open mode, so we don't have to go through the Sanctuary or the Hyrule Castle portion at the beginning until we're ready for it. It is all dungeons, so every dungeon, including pendants and the Aghanim Tower, must be completed in the seed. We got normal difficulty. We have randomized swords, so Uncle will have any item in the game, potentially. And we have Randomizer, so there will be enemies all across Hyrule in places you would not expect them. Even Dark World enemies in the Light World, as you can see right there with some Hinoxes near the Lumberjack Cave.
Yeah, we have Dracarys here, checking the Lumberjack straight away. And it seems to be a piece of heart.
That's indeed what it was, and got a heart container inside the Thieves' hideout in the forest. Ooh, and Dracarys is getting very lucky with a nice bomb drop from the jerk guy.
And use some cash in the Lost Woods.
Definitely would not hurt to get that. We are close to Kakariko, so we can get some bombs to kind of start out if we really so desire to.
Yeah, we also have a bottle vendor that could have a potential item they need.
Does look like Elminster is going to the south quickly, just because he does not really want to, you know, buy bombs if he doesn't have to. Gonna see if he can get something from some of these other checks. Just a heart inside the tavern, though.
It's gonna be interesting now to see what Chicken Hut has for us. He bought the bombs, Elminster.
What do we got? Ooh, a Beamos. Thankfully, though, that's not too bad, though. That's really the only threat in that room, and it's on a very circle-like cycle there.
Dracarys just found the gloves down in Blind's basement. And some love.
Yeah, I bet he was hoping to find some extra bombs to maybe avoid the shop, but that's okay. Got some rupees out of it. Looks like Elminster does find some bombs here in the well, though, so... Too bad he already bought some along the way.
Dracarys seems to have gotten some bombs from the bomb vendor after selling the fish. So he's also fine.
Yeah, that is actually a really nifty trick. If there is a fish enemy, because fish do count as part of the Randomizer pool, if you bring it over to that bottle vendor, you'll get pretty much one of every type of drop. So because he was able to use that knowledge effectively, he was able to not have to worry about purchasing bombs from the Kakariko shop.
And we have the hammer down in the well. Dracarys just put it up.
Really nice, and yep, even more bombs from the bottle vendor. But yeah, hammer is definitely a really good find. It does have that hitbox problem, but at least for right now, it is a weapon we can use to take out enemies, so don't have to worry about kind of getting into one of those kill-all rooms with only bombs, so it is good to have that at least.
Yeah, and it's also one of the requirements to enter the Dark World.
And since this is all dungeons, we'll pretty much need it anyway, regardless, because there's so many dungeons that need the hammer to at least get into, or even just get partway through the dungeon.
We see Elminster is going to the Dark World straight away.
And he does have all the items, so Gonna take a chance on that, I suppose. Looks like it was just a heart container on the race game. Dracarys is probably not going to worry about it. Getting an item from the race game can be quite devastating in Randomizer because there could be bush guards or just other enemies hiding in those bushes when you're trying to get through there. So kind of nice we get to avoid that for right now.
Yeah, well, Elminster is exploring Skullwoods, and also Dracarys just picked up the Moon Pearl in Link's house.
So he's also going to be jumping in the Dark World, but from a different area. Get a quick map check. We have Pendant in Skull Woods, Turtle Rock, and Thieves Town, with the Thieves Town being the green pendant. And I want to say Swamp was one of the 5-6 crystals as well.
Yeah, that's correct. Ooh, and there we have the mirror in the...
Yep, Mire inside Hype Cave, and that's a really great place to find it because now Dracarys was more than likely going to do all the South Shore stuff before he got that Moon Pearl. Now with the Mire, he can do kind of this early Dark World routing and the South Shore at the same time, so he's able to kind of be a little more efficient with his routing because of that find. Also gets a pretty reasonable mini Moldorm cave.
So far, use some cash. Oh, it's Cash Cave tonight.
Yep, just Cash Cave. Hey, gotta get that Zora money somehow, I guess. So on Dracarys' trip to Ice Cave, it looks like we haven't found too much here in Skull Woods. Gonna see what the big chest is gonna be on Elminster's side. Just a small key.
Elminster taking a death, and Dracarys is now going to the Ice Rod Cave, just for some money.
And looks like now he's probably going to be checking the back of Escape. He does have some bombs, and he has the ability to go there. On Bumper Ledge, we have the bow, so the bow is going to be cape blocked today.
And we got the magic powder, an arrow, and some piece of love down in the back of Escape.
And in the C-shaped house, looks like we're going to get some even more arrows. But yeah, finding that powder, we do actually have access to the magic bat right now. And looks like Dracarys is kind of heading back to the village, so could be potentially playing to that powder that he just got.
This is one game we're not gonna wait in turning into mushrooms, at least.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And actually, it looks like Dracarys is instead going to be going to Dark World, which, again, he has the mirror, so kind of checking the Village of Outcasts and then mirroring is also a pretty good strategy there as well.
And Elminster is going to Thieves Town. 4 easy chests in the beginning. Or I'd say rather quick chests. I don't know if it's easy today.
And with the way Thieves Town is in Randomizer, due to the fact that, you know, you're probably not going to get blind as your boss, you don't actually have to do the light puzzle in this dungeon, so you can actually walk straight into the boss room and see what your boss is going to end up being, too. We'll have to see if maybe he decides to take a little peek at what that boss is going to be. There are a few bosses that we can do something to, so, you know, it could be beatable at this point. Looks like we do have the lamp here in Thieves Town.
Oh, also the ether medallion.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we're going to have the Thieves Town boss on hold for right now, but we do have the hammer, so we can get everything else in here. Just have to be very careful, because there are some enemies that could potentially kill us right now if we happen to run into them, so we're going to have to be kind of careful as we make our way through here.
We have Elminster in the conveyor room. This is one interesting room when we're playing Randomizer. And also the next room here could be Chaos.
Yeah, and chaos indeed it was. Looks like he's going to decide to maybe continue that a bit later, maybe get some more health. Honestly, even just getting a sword would be really helpful, because then you could use that ether medallion that we found to kind of make things a bit easier.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
And he's also going to be playing the arrow game, realizing that he is pretty low on cash right now. This is kind of a strat that you see, especially in Inverted, where, you know, you can actually get a lot of free rupees if you know the best way to kind of hit all these targets and kind of get that cash very early on.
Yeah, and he gets all 5 arrows.
And that is going to be enough to do the digging game over here, so...
He's trying to dig a hole under the digging game guy.
That still counts as a square, so it works.
That was 27 digs, I believe.
Yeah, there were a lot of them, and, you know, did get a piece of heart, which did give us a new container, so definitely not a bad find.
Mostly Elminster is heading to Stumpy and see what kind of item he has.
Looks like we got some more health as Dracarys sees the bow up there as well on Bumper Cave, and he does have the mirror, so he can actually make the graveyard ledge check too.
Elminster is going towards the dam. Oh wait, it's entering Swamp Palace. Ah, there we go. A hint tile.
Wow. What a very convenient hint tile for just this dungeon in general, telling that the Mire is an hype cave. Someone asking in chat what the fake swords do. I believe those are the fake swords that are normally in the Lost Woods in the vanilla version that are basically just kind of there. You pick them up, it's like, oh, it's the Master Sword. Oh, wait, it's not. I guess they're counted as enemies in this, so they can be randomized in the pool of foes as we go across Hyrule.
Dracarys in Outcast Village. He's going to C-shaped house. He's gonna find some arrows.
And Elminster are going to be going north to, I'm guessing, going to check the pyramid next. And he is in a good position where he could mirror and start checking escape if he really wanted to as well.
Yeah, we have Dracarys entering Magic Bat Cave, it seems. Just for some bombs.
And first up, we have the Uncle Cave for Elminster. What is our uncle going to give us today? Just a blue rupee, but we do have another chest in here. Hopefully we don't get blocked by a pokey or something. Or a Lionel.
Even better.
Yeah. Oh, and getting destroyed by the jelly bean there, unfortunately.
Elminster is checking back of escape.
Well, he will be getting his powder at least, and you know, powder actually a pretty solid item, especially in Randomizer. You never know when those anti-fairies are going to show up, and if you're low on health, it can be a very quick restore to get.
Yeah, that's true. Well, Dracarys just entered Thieves Town. He's gonna have a nice surprise in front of him. And Elminster is taking us another death.
Man, hard to believe those Stalfos heads do 4 hearts of damage.
Dracarys picking up ether and the lamp.
And looking at Elminster's inventory, we do have the power glove, we have the lamp, we have the mirror, and we also have the hammer to get further to Death Mountain. So using all the items he has to kind of make the next logical choice to get some more health and just other potential items we could use. So going to be making that Death Mountain play.
On Dracarys screen, you saw him use the magic powder on Anti-Fairy to get some health.
And hello, Helmasaur inside Thieves Town.
Elminster picked up the Bombos medallion from the old man.
Mm-hmm. And Dracarys taking a hit on Helmasaur and dying. Helmasaur, in this particular scenario, is pretty dangerous because you need to... The only weapon we have to hit him in that phase is the hammer, and it's a very awkward hitbox, and you have to get really, really close to him. We do see the Titan's Mitt on top of Spectacle Rock as well for Elminster. He's going to be picking that up.
Dracarys might take the same route up to Death Mountain, we'll see.
Yeah, right now we have the potential to completely finish Tower of Hera. It largely depends on what the boss is going to be, obviously, but, you know, all the items are potentially in logic, and then there's also all the other stuff on Death Mountain as well. Getting a fake hit in Tower of Hera.
Ouch.
Mm-hmm.
Dracarys also picking up the Bombos medallion.
Just to quickly clarify for people in chat, as far as the Randomizer settings that are being used for these tourney races, the only things that are touched are enemy shuffle and boss shuffle. Enemy damage, enemy health, palette swap, pot shuffle, all that other stuff will not be used in these tournament matches. It's just the enemy shuffle for open mode, and in both standard and open, the boss shuffle, which will be on the chaos setting, which means basically you can find any boss at any dungeon boss location. You can even have like potentially 5 Trinex fights too. So stuff like that can happen. Anyway, let's see who we have for Tower of Hera. Mothula.
It's a quick kill by Elminster. Getting some bombs.
Yeah, it's pretty safe to say that's without the conveyor belts and the spike traps. Mothula is not really that scary of a boss.
We see Elminster going out to the basement in Hera, and he's gonna have his well-deserved coffee break.
Yeah, it looks like we did not get all the items in Hera. There's still one in the basement, so we're going to see what that is. And also another factor of Randomizer, the floor tile patterns are actually randomized as well. So you get some nice looking designs. Usually it'll be Zelda 1 dungeon map layouts. In fact, I want to say this is level 4, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it looked like a snake or some sort.
Mm-hmm.
And just a small piece of love done in the Hera basement for Elminster.
And I bet he just wanted to get a kill there, just so he could get kind of more health than what he had. Those guards were kind of giving him the business, so to speak, in that room. Ooh, I saw a blue male on top of the Death Mountain Island. That is something that I would personally be wanting to get, at least at this point, in enemy randomizer.
Yeah, and also he's not entering the spiral cave.
Mm-hmm.
Finding the red cane, or cane of Samaria.
Mm-hmm. Of course, we will need that item for Misery Mire and Turtle Rock, but it's also just another pretty useful tool that you can use, potentially against Blind. I find Samaria Blind a bit easier than Hammer Blind at this point, so, you know, very useful tool for enemy combat.
Paradox Cave, finding the first ball on Elmin's side. Some piece of heart and some cash.
That bottle will give us another location back in Kakariko we can check later. We do see on Turtle Rock we have the Ether Medallion. That is the medallion we need to enter that dungeon, so we're, you know, kind of halfway there for medallion checks, at least right now. Dracarys is going to go inside, check Super Bunny Cave, and I imagine he's probably also considering that blue mail on Hookshot Cave as well.
Yeah, the reason why I didn't open up Turtle Rock is because to use a medallion you need a sword.
Yes, that is correct. This is not swordless, so we do need that sword to actually activate the dungeon from opening. And then, even if we could access Turtle Rock with a sword, if we did have a sword, it'd be pretty good chance that we'd be locked out from the get-go, unless that first chest was a small key or something.
Dracarys side is picked up the blue mail, the floating isle.
And it looks like Elminster is actually going to be skipping out on that blue mail for right now.
Elminster is the first person checking the dam.
Yeah, that's not often something you see 30 minutes in. No dam check yet, but we will be finding out shortly what we're going to have in here. And yeah, because he hasn't done it yet, Elminster going to be checking off all of these South Shore locations, which Drac already did a couple of minutes ago. But, you know, his routing took him in different directions, so it's understandable. These things will happen sometimes in these randomizer seeds.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that make these games so exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Different routing they take.
Yeah, definitely. Couldn't agree more.
Looks like Dracarys gonna check on Sick Kid. Oh wait, he's going to the Dark World.
He might still check it too while he's down there. He does have the mirror, so could just be a way to conveniently do all the stuff kind of in one swoop. This could potentially be kind of a blacksmith hammer pegs check, and actually going inside the hammer house here. This is a shop. I'm gonna grab some potion. Could be thinking about maybe a Helmasaur rematch.
Yeah, I think that's what he's gonna do. And also with the mitts, he can go to blacksmith, or rather rescue the poor guy.
Mm-hmm. We do have some new checks right here. The back of Sahashwala's house, we got 50 rupees, the blue cane, and 50 more rupees. As nice as that blue cane could be, the cape is increasingly more valuable, especially in this seed, just because we know it'll lead to the bow.
Where Elminster was going towards Path of Darkness, but realized that he forgot someone. Open it up.
Yeah, unfortunately you need Kiki to open up that door. We did get a little hint here in Thieves Town. A unique item is being blocked by the hookshot. So that could be Hookshot Cave, that could be inside Swamp Palace. I believe there's also some Ganon's Tower chests that are, you know, potentially hookshot blocked as well. So that unique item could be a lot of different things. Could be a very valuable item we need, or it could be something like the net, which would be helpful but not necessarily required. Oh! So I got another hint. The hookshot is inside Mimic Cave.
And also here on Elminster's screen we have one room that you usually require the bow to finish or use a bottle glitch, but in Randomizer there's a big chance that you can actually complete this room without neither.
Yeah, that is actually a quirk of Randomizer. Basically, all of the enemy kill rooms, or rooms that will only open once you've killed all the enemies, it will always assure you that you can basically get through those rooms with just bombs. Just so, you know, you don't get locked out and, you know, just prevent you from getting, you know, stuck because you can't kill all the enemies.
Yeah, Dracarys just found a red mail down in the cell in Thieves town.
Red mail definitely very helpful right now. And, you know, with that red mail, going back for the Helmasaur fight is probably even more inviting now, too.
And there we go, Dracarys just killed Helmasaur, and he didn't use his potion, I believe.
He did not. Honestly, getting the red mail when he did was very, very nice, because that way he could take a hit from Helmasaur, walk into his hitbox to kind of get closer to his weak point, and actually do the damage with the hammer. So really, really nice he had that defense boost when he got it.
Elminster is collecting cash down here in Palace of Darkness, so I believe we might be seeing a Sora check soon.
I imagine that's what he's thinking about, because Zora is within logic right now, so it is kind of good to have that taken care of before you find yourself over there. So far, I have not found anything of major note in Palace of Darkness, but it looks like I'm going to be heading over to Eastern Palace next. And Eastern's actually a fairly good check-in Randomizer, because due to the enemy kill room quirk of Randomizer I talked about earlier, you actually will not necessarily need the bow to get through Eastern, because the red Icors are not going to be in those kill rooms. So this is potentially completable right now.
Yeah, we have Dracarys checking the Peg Cave and probably the Blacksmith after.
Mm-hmm.
But I gotta wonder, it's 40 minutes now and we still haven't seen a single sword yet.
Yes, we have still not found any of those swords, unfortunately. Yeah, I see people in chat talking about Turtle Rock and the fact that, yeah, you may not actually need Ice Rod for Turtle Rock and Randomizer, but you may need the Ice Rod for Trinex and other dungeons, so Ice Rod is still very good to find.
On the Dracarys screen, he checked K45, he's going to Stumpy, and he has Gary's lunchbox with him.
Mm-hmm. So we'll see what that is shortly. On Elminster's side, we did see a hint in regards to the Firelock side of Mire. We know that the map and compass are going to be there, which is good, because that means we don't have to check that area at all when we go through Misery Mire.
And this is what I love about Randomizer. Dracarys just lift a bush and he found a thief beneath.
I mean, really, the thieves are just getting smarter. I mean, that's probably should have been doing that in the vanilla game, honestly. Whoa, that's a lot of fire bars. Oh, okay, 3 fire bars and 2 fire snakes, and one of those rotating fireballs, too.
This is a great example showing what the Cane of Berna can do.
Yeah, definitely.
And Gary just had a full heart for us.
Yeah, since we're in the area, let's go see what's going to be in Agina's cave. And this could be a pretty dangerous room here for Elminster.
Yeah, he's having plenty of fun down there.
Ooh, actually a really good find, the full magic drop there. And after all that, we get greeted to a nice Lamno fight, which isn't too bad. Although we are kind of low on supplies, and we do have that hammer hitbox to worry about, too.
Yeah, I gotta say, it's a smart play with the Cane of Samari there. I didn't actually realize that. Well, I knew they would take damage, but it would stay on the ground after hitting Lamolas.
Yeah, generally the block disappears after, you know, hitting a couple of enemies. But yeah, it's still definitely very nice to have, especially for this. You can kind of KO multiple heads without, you know, getting too close to them. And that should do it, right? Oh, not quite. And he gets through the fight on half a heart left.
You and Dracarys managed to beat the Lionel, but only for some cash.
That's unfortunate, but at least we're going to see what's inside the front half of Escape now. And I guess kind of the silver lining about finding the first glove upgrade early so we could check the back of Escape is we don't have to worry about going through the entire sewers, which could have some very annoying and very dangerous enemy patterns.
Take a wild guess. I think we might see a sword down here.
It would be about time for a sword to finally appear. Looks like Elminster going back to Thieves Town. See if he can make a little more progress in here with more health and more equipment.
Hopefully he'll make it down to the prison and get the blue mail, since he missed it on Death Mountain.
Yeah, definitely. Ooh, and we get the flute from inside Zelda's cell. So yeah, as chat is stating, that will give us the Mire area, and it will give us, you know, a quick trip into desert. If we can do anything in there, that'll be largely dependent on if there's a key inside the torch, but we'll have to see when we get to that point. And yeah, it looks like Elminster realized that, you know, I don't think I'm quite ready for this Helmasaur fight just yet, so going to be taking a pass on that, which is a good decision since he will get that blue mail if he keeps going through here. Did see the silver. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Dracarys finding the silver arrows up on the desert ledge.
Mm-hmm. That's good. I mean, still have to find that cape for the bow, but hey, when we do get that, we will have some silvers to go along with it.
I mean, can't you just throw the silver arrows at Ganon?
Yeah, unfortunately not. And we... Oh, wow! You were kind of right. You know, there wasn't a sword in Escape, but it did lead to one with that flute.
And now gets the silver arrows and the fire rod. Can't forget about that.
Yeah, definitely not. Fire rod will be required for, you know, access into the back half of Skull Woods. And, you know, Sword obviously unlocks medallion stuff for us too, so really great find with just that one flute acquisition.
Only a small piece of heart at Torch, so we're not going to be boots locked today.
Nope, and that means we'll more than likely be seeing the rest of this dungeon potentially taking out the boss as well. Again, assuming we can, there's still two bosses we can't quite do anything about, and that would be Argus and Trinex. And right now, the chat making a very good point. With the items we literally just got, we can definitely access Mimic Cave right now to get the hook shot. The only thing is, I believe only Elminster has that information. Dracarys does not have the information about Mimic Cave just yet.
Where was that hint?
I want to say that was the Palace of Darkness one.
Dracarys is about to enter the boss room, the Desert Palace. Let's see who we got today.
Vanilla. Aww.
I was hoping for Trinex.
I was too, honestly. I commentated a Randomizer race the other day, and there wasn't a single Trinex in that seed, and I would hate for the same thing to happen here as well.
Quite a few of the seeds I've seen have been multiple Trinexes.
Oh, wow. A stark contrast to what I've seen, then. Magby, the flute was inside Zelda's cell inside the castle. And just a bottle inside the big chest of Desert Palace. To answer a question in chat, no, Ganon is not randomized into the pool of bosses. Neither are the Aghanim fights. Those will be in their vanilla locations. But they will not be randomized anywhere else.
Dracarys finding, I think it's the third bottle in the checkerboard cave.
I believe that is correct. Looks like Dracarys is going to get some potions before he proceeds. According to the tracker, it seems like Mire was Bombos, so You know, Bombos is... Oh, wait, no, it's not. And Mire's not a play. We do not have the boots or the hook shot yet, so can't quite do anything in there yet.
What Elminster is checking the race game. He's only gonna find a piece of heart. No, wait, a full container.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I mean, we're still in our first row of health. Less than an hour, just short of an hour into the seed. Not a bad idea to pick that up.
So, do you think Dracarys will go for Mimic Cave? He didn't know this, right?
He did not know this, but I imagine that is something he is more than likely going to do, just because it will be on his path and he does have access to it. And looks like we got another non-helpful hint here in Turtle Rock. And a non-helpful chain chomp blocking the access to that room over there.
With Elminster down in the desert, but sadly does not have the flute.
Yep, he's going to need to get that play into the castle escape, because that is where all the value is going to end up being when he finds that flute.
And Dracarys has one easy room for a change.
Mm-hmm. After the last couple, it's definitely nice to see that for once.
Elminster is going towards escape, I believe. No, perhaps Uncle first.
Yeah, because I want to say that, or maybe no, maybe it was Dracarys who did that, but yeah, needs to get through this Lionel over here. Doesn't even bother with trying to get out of the way, just moves his way past it. And again, because I did see some chatter about it in chats, the way these group stage will work, every player will play 15 matches, 3 against every opponent in their group. It's not a best of scenario. Basically, you'll be playing 3 games against every opponent in your group. Game 1 will be selected, the settings for that will be selected by the higher seed. In this case, it is Dracarys. Game 2 will be selected by the lower seed. In this case, it would be Elminster. And Game 3 is a randomized setting, which will basically randomize all the different attributes, and each player gets 1 veto in that. so that setting will not be used in that case. That is how the group stage will work for this.
So if we talk about the third game a little bit, what's the worst combination you would see?
Well, for me,
game modes.
For me, because I'm obviously not as good as any of the players who qualified past the qualifier stage, I would not want to see a swordless or hard scenario going on personally. But you know, it definitely varies from person to person. I'm sure there's people who don't really enjoy the key sanity option. I'm sure there's people who don't really like Randomizer, and you know, inverted is still pretty new as well. So maybe not everyone is familiar with those. So it really just kind of depends from person to person.
There we got it. Hookshot in Mimic Cave. Dracarys is picked up.
But he is obviously going to keep on moving. Literally the only thing that can stop him from completing this dungeon is a vanilla Trinex fight at the very end. And no, timer mode, one-hit KO mode, and entrance. Those are settings that will not be used for this tournament. They were considered too volatile. And, you know, sometimes those modes can take a really, really long time to get through in the normal 3-hour at most broadcast window we try to go for. And, well, there's the ice rod.
Yeah, there's nothing stopping him now.
Yeah, with that, he is pretty much in boss go mode, except for Ganon, obviously. But, you know, he can take out any boss he finds from here on out, which is going to be definitely something good for him. But we are definitely not in go mode yet. We still need the bow, because even though the kill room in Eastern and in Palace of Darkness are gone, there is still that Armos statue that's in Palace of Darkness that, you know, you need to actually get past in order to finish that dungeon. And this is all dungeons, so there could be some other things. We obviously need flippers for Swamp as well.
And if you don't remember, the bow was locked behind Cape. So we also need to
This is true. And you know, we do have that hint that the hook shot is guarding a unique item. That could very well be the cape, or the boots, or even flippers. So all of those are considered unique items, so that could very well be another point of contention as well.
Dracarys picking up a small piece of heart, filling one entire container, and refills his health. Perfect for the boss fights.
Yep, couldn't agree more. So now I just have a nice room of waiting as we prepare ourselves for what this boss is going to be. We have the Armos Knights.
This is such a long fight if you don't have the bow.
It is. It really, really is. Fire Rod actually does pretty good damage against these guys. I was honestly kind of surprised not to see that, and you could even get some splash damage off as well. So it can actually speed up the fight a little bit.
Yeah, this is one of the few bosses, if not the only boss, you can actually use the boomerang to kill.
Mm-hmm. But that's a very long process, even longer than the sword here, so you probably don't want to go through that. There we go. Our most knights have been defeated. Turtle Rock is done for Dracarys, and that is his 4th dungeon completed. Meanwhile, Elminster still only sitting on 2 right now. But it looks like he is going to Turtle Rock, which is where he will find 2 very important items.
Dracarys picking up the Master Sword in Hookshot Cave. And a shovel.
And half magic. Now, here's the thing. In regards to that unique item hint for Hookshot, it very well could be referring to the shovel, but not the Master Sword, because swords are considered something sharp, not something unique, as far as the hint system is concerned. So, it's more than likely pointing to that shovel, but it could also be pointing to another Hookshot locked item too, so we'll have to see if there's any others that pop up. It's, you know, still good to keep that information in mind.
Looks like Dracarys is gonna go for his 5th dungeon, Skullwoods, now when he has a sword and a fire rod.
Yeah, and with that mirror, right after he finishes this dungeon, he can actually check the pedestal as well. Doesn't have the book, but will have all 3 pendants, so we'll be able to see what's on there.
Oh yeah, that's a good find.
I want to say the half magic upgrade is also considered unique, but I would be lying if I said I was 100% sure on that.
We got blind.
Blind's not too bad for this arena. Obviously, as you can see, the conveyor belt isn't really doing too much, and the spikes aren't exactly moving here. It's just really just kind of a smaller room. Ooh, I think he has a fairy, though.
And with that pendant, you can now check the pedestal.
And you know, with the way that the game's been kind of handing out these items to the point where all the pedestal dungeons are in logic now, you know, there very well could be an item here. Usually in all dungeons, you know, you could have a scenario where there's a pendant-locked item in Ganon's tower or something. But since we have all these pretty early, this could be like the cape or something. Or just a red ruby. And with this, it looks like Dracarys is going to continue kind of avoiding the Palace of Darkness, Eastern Palace area, which is, you know, understandable because he knows where the bow is, and he knows he's going to need to complete Pod with that bow. So trying to kind of focus on other dungeons, see if he can maybe draw out that cape before heading over there. And from what we saw from Elminster's side, it's going to be a good decision because there wasn't really anything of major note in those dungeons either. So definitely making really good calls on his routing here.
So what enemy was that in the bottom right corner? Was it he held a cannon of some sort?
I want to say that was an enemy that was actually made for Randomizer. I don't think there's any actual cannon guards in the vanilla version of the game. Please do correct me if I'm wrong. That's just what I heard through the grapevine, so to speak. Okay, enemy coded in the game but not used. That makes sense.
Skullwood's boss was blind.
Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, because Dracarys did not get the hint from Eastern Palace, he does not know that the two chests on this side of Misery and Mire are the map and compass. So Elm's going to be able to make up a little bit more time when he goes through Mire later.
Yeah, but he's relieved now when he found the ice rod.
Mm-hmm. Just a Quake medallion and the big chest in Mire. Unfortunately, as we know from the medallions required for dungeons, that is not going to be required whatsoever.
Elm screen we see is entering the boss in Turtle Rock. It's gonna be happy it's only Armus. Yeah.
Yeah, even though he is equipped to pretty much be able to take on any boss at this point, there are still definitely some bosses that you wouldn't be super thrilled to fight with this setup. Just having Fighter Sword, I know Argus would probably be one of those.
Another landmill fight, it seems, for Dracarys.
That's 3 Landmolus fights in this scene. Ooh!
And the cape.
That is big. That is our bow acquisition, which means Dracarys is more than likely going to be picking that up next and heading straight over to the pod in Eastern area. Of course, though, there is still one item that we are still looking for after we get this bow. We still need those flippers. We can bypass the flippers requirement through Ice Palace by fake flippering, but you can't really do that for Swamp, so that's still going to be something we'll need to find.
Perhaps they're vanilla.
That's true. We have not seen the Zora area. That's true. It very well could be. From the whole discussion of logic in general, we can already rule out the fact that flippers will not be in Ice Palace, so I can see them not even bothering with Ice Palace until they get those, because no reason to really look for anything in there if logically can't be in there. So
And they're not in Eastern or Palace of Darkness. The question is where they are.
yeah, I'm kind of with you in thinking that they might be in the vanilla location, or at least somewhere near there. And I don't think we've seen what's on the green pendant yet, and Drac will have a chance to actually check that out.
I don't think they used the shovel yet either, did they?
No, I don't think they've checked the shovel. Did he already check Sashrala?
No, I don't think he did. I think he forgot.
Oh boy. Well, let's hope that that's not the flippers.
And he also
Okay.
forgot.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. It looks like Elminster going to be heading into Skull Woods next. Dracarys is going to be going through Pod. Of course, we've already, seen all these locations pretty much in full until Drac gets to the boss, obviously. But, yeah, going to be seeing probably a lot of retracing each other's footsteps for a bit. Thank God Elminster got inside that hole in time, because if he waited 1 second later, that Wallmaster would have grabbed him as he was falling into the pit. Looks like he's just going to be doing some Burno safety strats on blind here. Although he is going to run out. Ooh, I think he... Oh no, I don't think he does have that fairy. He did not go to the... He did not go to the Mire area to get that fairy in a bottle, so he will have to take a death and walk back.
Yeah, it was so close. The last hit, Pixels on the sword was just so close.
Mm-hmm. Okay, round number 2. Getting back to low health again.
It seemed like he was stuck in the left corner there.
Oh, Yeah, maybe some controller issues or something.
On Dracarys' side, we're gonna see some unexplored rooms soon.
Hmm. I think those crabs are a suitable replacement for the mimics that are normally in there. Okay, looks like Elm should have it now. Just needs to get one more hit, and there we go.
Dracarys taking the easy way out with Ether Medallion.
Honestly, don't blame them. Even if there's a bunch of enemies that aren't harmful in there, it's just a quick way to just kind of get everything down in one shot. And our boss for Palace of Darkness is going to be Vitreous.
And with the silvers, that's one quick fight.
Mm-hmm.
And the flippers.
That's, I believe that's go mode, ladies and gentlemen. Unless the Ganon's Tower big key is on the torch in Ganon's Tower, we are pretty much in go mode at this point. Yeah, very unlikely that it's on that torch, but it can still happen.
Also make sure that you follow these great runners on their Twitch.
Yeah, definitely putting on an amazing show for us. And also, do not forget, this is just game one of this particular series. There will be 3 games played, no matter what. This is game 1, which is going to be Dracarys' personal settings. So he picked the open all dungeons Randomizer that we have been witnessing today. Elminster will be picking game 2 settings, and then game 3 will be a kind of a randomized creation with 1 veto going to each player, basically saying which mode or which setting they do not want to see on that particular seed, and they'll be playing all 3. It's not a best of. Every game will be played, and they'll have to do that for every single player in their respective group.
And that's the recipe for a few interesting matches in the future. So many different combinations, and there's so many matches being played.
Yep. What is an Randomizer today could be a key sanity or an inverted mode the next day, so... As we see the Fire Snake and Fire Bar room from Heck today, again. Okay, so it looks like Elminster is heading in the right direction. He will be finishing Mire and will be getting the cape for his troubles. This will give him the bow, which will lead him to the flippers, and just the continuous item chain that we're kind of expected to get at this point.
Yeah, today's match, all the valuable progression items have been in the Mire area.
Yeah, pretty much. That flute and escape led to the sword and fire rod plus silvers in the Mire area. Back up the Turtle Rock for Mimic Cave and the hook shot. Back down the Mire for the cape, to the bow, to the flippers. So quite the chain we have. Also, I believe that's only the third Lamnola. I think the other Lamnola is the one Elm also fought at Eastern Palace earlier.
And how did that spike hide behind that bush?
Yeah. I think it's funny when you find one of the giant rolling pins under a bush. It has happened before, and it's quite hilarious.
Isn't that what I got just now?
Oh, yeah, okay. Oh, sorry. Yeah, it was. And yeah, just a reminder, this isn't all dungeon seed, so in addition to all the pendant dungeons, the Aghanim Tower dungeon must also be completed. Now, thankfully, with the way the routing has gone for the seed, it's very easy. Once you finish Ganon's Tower, you go back to the pyramid, and before jumping down to fight Ganon, you just mirror out over to the Light World and take care of Aghanim's Tower. And then when you're done with that, you're right back on top of the pyramid again. So a lot of runners for these seeds will often save that for last, just out of convenience, and it's probably the fastest way to get there, especially when you consider the kind of roundabout way you have to get there in the Light World in general.
I'm not sure what happened there. The first time I got that pot, there was no key beneath it. Does it disappear when you use the hammer?
What happened there was due to the exploding balloon guy, because the exploding balloon guy makes a whole bunch of smaller enemies. I think it despawned the key because of the sprite limitations. That can actually happen in Thieves Town as well, in the hallway before the boss, that small key under a pot. If there's too many sprites on screen, that can also despawn that key as well. Also, a quick fun fact, since we were just in the Misery Mire boss arena, the puddle that Vitreous normally stands on is still active if you're fighting another boss, so you're going to want to try to avoid to stay away from the back of that room. Well, we're officially in 100% go mode now, since Dracarys did find the boots here in Swamp Palace.
There we go. Trinex, finally.
Finally, we have Trinex.
An odd-looking one.
Yeah, you'll find that a lot of the dungeon layouts and the floor tiles will definitely mess with the boss sprites here, as we can see from Trinex, and it's kind of a almost see-through shell. Crystal Trinex, yes, definitely. So yeah, as of right now, the one thing Elminster could still get is if, for example, he checks Green Pendant and Sahasrara has a sword upgrade or something. But even then, there is definitely a 2 dungeon difference between our runners right now. So, he would be able to get some time back with the sword, but good chances to find a sword in Ganon's Tower anyway, and Dracarys does have some great momentum right now, and just kind of getting to the end here. Sylphid 88, this is actually game 1, so none of these runners have scored points against the other yet.
And we see Dracarys is just skipping chests. He just wants to get this done.
Yeah, another sword would be nice, but at this point, and with the skill that both of our runners have, they can definitely handle. Master Sword Silver Ganon fight. And yeah, had a little the bomb from that Hinox just caused the switch to keep turning on and off right there. And he managed bomb jump on the 3rd try. And Elminster starting his fight against Palace of Darkness Vitreous. Never thought I'd ever say that in my lifetime, but here we are. And with the flipper that Elminster just found, he is going to be heading straight for Swamp Palace. And, you know, assuming he opens up that chest that's kind of like in the way as we're getting to the end, he should be in go mode fairly shortly. And we get Eight-Eyed Moldorm inside Ice Palace. Anyway, with all 7 crystals, and in addition to that, the 3 pendants, we are actually on our way to Ganon's Tower on Dracarys' side here. Which means, since this is a race being broadcasted of Link to the Past Randomizer, there's going to be probably a lot of numbers being posted in chat in just a moment. Basically, we like to speculate and guess on where we think that's big key is going to end up in Ganon's Tower. Of course, no location is particularly important as we do have all the items to get all the locations. But 1 through 22, if you want to get your guesses in, go right ahead. Okay, Dracarys immediately going to the left, and just a heart piece, so it's not going to matter if Elminster grabs those boots or not as far as the location's concerned, but there are a lot of long sections in GT where having the boots is nice, so hopefully he still picks them up to some extent.
There we have it. Big key on the 3rd chest, I believe.
That is correct, and you know, right after that we got a small key as well, so very, very fast Ganon's Tower for Dracarys it's going to look like. And I did see this come up in chat early, and this is definitely something to mention since it is an Randomizer. The 3 boss locations inside Ganon's Tower are also going to be shuffled. Unfortunately, since the big key was early, we're not going to see what's going to be on Ice Armos, but there are still 2 chances to see some of those bosses we haven't seen yet. And I believe at this point we still need to see Argus. I don't think we've seen him yet, and I don't think we've seen Cold Stare yet either. Or we could just see a 4th Lamnola fight as well.
And with Dracarys, he's using a medallion to make quick work of the gauntlets.
Yeah, that can be very handy, especially for some reason Ganon's Tower really loves putting in these shadow enemies. And using a medallion is a very quick way you can just kind of get rid of them and just kind of get through a room faster than hunting down each individual shadow beast.
Yeah, and I gotta say, these rooms look so empty without the beamos.
I know. And our second Ganon's Tower boss fight, since we're not going to see the first, is a rematch with the Armos Knights.
And a tad quicker than the first one.
Yeah, considering we actually have the bow for that now. Yeah, Bombos Medallion takes a little longer to use, but it also won't turn the soldiers into ice like the Ether Medallion did, so probably wise to use that one instead.
Ouch, what a badly placed skull there.
Yeah. And Dracarys still going to be checking a few chests, see if he can maybe pull out a Tempered Sword before the Ganon fight. Does find the final bottle, which was still uncalled for at this point. And another Mothula rematch. I think, yeah, both of them were in Moldorm arenas. So yeah, looks like both Cold Stare and Argus are going to be unseen of in this seed. So unfortunately, after starting with a triple, has to finish it off with 3 singles, but Aghanim 2 is done, and if you think that means we're going to fight Ganon, you would be slightly wrong, because this is all dungeons, which means we have one more dungeon we still have to clear, and that is Aghanim's Tower, which we can get to from a very quick mirror up here. But yep, that will be required before we can beat Ganon officially in this mode.
Elminster is now on his way up to Ganon's Tower. And Elminster is going on to the right side.
Now, could end up getting a sword upgrade here. We did not see these chests. Nope, just some health, though. And Dracarys is using a lot of magic as he's climbing up the tower, but that is actually fine, because once you beat Aghanim 1, unlike Aga 2, you will actually get a full health and magic restore, so, you know, kind of taking advantage of that, just giving himself a little bit of a breather as he climbs up through those last few enemy rooms. And with Aga 1 completed, we just have the Ganon fight now. Getting the sweet corner spot right there, getting a lot of double spins on Ganon to kind of push him closer to that phase 3.
Just gotta be careful now. Now I use a blue potion.
I think he still had that red potion too from Ganon's tower, so...
Yeah, he should be fine.
Just needs 2 more spins and then 4 spins with silver shots, and should be him finishing up.
And there we go.
Nicely done. Looks like he's not going to fall into the pit, so looks like he is going to be finishing this run up with no problem whatsoever.
And he enters the Triforce room with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 57 minutes, and 38 seconds.
Very, very nicely done. So with that, Dracarys will be taking his second victory in the group stage. Not against Elminster. This is his first victory against Elminster. He actually did have a victory early on in another series. So he is 2-0 in the group stage right now. Still has 13 games left to play, though. So it's still very much the beginning, but definitely a great start.
We have Elminster finishing up Aga 2.
And we are being joined by our winner for this race. We have Dracarys. Congratulations on your victory here.
Thank you. That was a pretty cool seed.
Yeah, it was definitely very linear. Gave you all the Dark World items from pretty much the get-go. And once you did come across that flute, it gave you a really nice continuous chain for the rest of them. There's honestly not really a lot to talk about, and the hints were also very nice and kind of giving you that information as well.
Yeah, it just took me a while to get to escape to get my flute, but after that it was just very smooth run.
Yeah, basically it just kind of came down to really who just went to the escape first. Like once that was kind of checked, it pretty much spelled out the rest for the rest of the seed. One thing that we were, kind of a little worried about. Did you end up reading the hint in Palace of Darkness while you were there?
No, because it was Flippers for Go mode and Palace of Darkness and Eastern were almost my last location, so I was pretty sure that I would find the flippers in here anyway.
Mm-hmm. Well, in Palace of Darkness, the hint for that was actually telling you where the hookshot was. Now, you had it by that point, so it didn't really even matter, but Elm actually went there very early on and got that hint. So, you know, for a while, like, we were wondering if, like, you know, that hint would actually kind of give him an edge because he knew where that hookshot was going to end up being. So yeah, that was a very interesting point, but thankfully, just in following the logic and where the breadcrumbs were kind of pushing you, you were able to get that regardless, but that was definitely a big thing that kind of happened and was a, you know, a pretty significant thing pretty early on.
Yeah, it seems like a pretty good hint if you check pod early. I just avoided the area because I knew where the bow was, and I wanted to save pod until I have the bow. I didn't know that the bow would be that deep into the logic, though.
Yeah, really, but hey, that worked out tremendously for you, so again, GG on that for just kind of having a very safe and smooth seed. So since this was actually your pick for this matchup, was there any particular reason why you chose Randomizer? Is it a mode you enjoy playing, or is it a mode that you kind of weren't sure if Elminster had much experience with, or anything like that?
It's mostly for fun reasons. I enjoy playing Randomizer. Randomizer is fun to play, Randomizer is fun to watch. And I just want to play some different modes in the tourney and not care about if my opponent can play them or not. Just have fun.
And that's fair, that's fair. But yeah, right now, looks like Elminster is finishing up the AGA 1 fight, so he'll be finishing not too long from now. Just gotta finish this up and finish up the Ganon fight, so definitely good performance by both runners. Again, it really just kind of came down to who got to that flute location first, and once you had that, you were pretty much good to go on this seed. I guess another question, how relieved were you to get that red mail inside Thieves Town for the Helmasaur fight?
Oh, that was so nice to see. I loved getting that red mail because it just allowed me to face tank Helmasaur to get in the hammer hits. I bought a red potion specifically for that to finish the Helmasaur fight, but the red mail made me not even use the potion.
Yeah, really, really nice how that happened.
My favorite moment of the seed was when I got the fish in Kakariko, by the way. That was so awesome.
Oh. Yeah, chat was really impressed by that. Really impressed with just using that game knowledge to kind of, you know, kind of get you those bomb drops that you needed. Because I believe Elm actually ended up purchasing bombs at Kakariko shop, so saved you a bit of money for the long run, which was nice. Okay, Elm still not quite in phase 3 just yet. Does take a death, and I'm not sure if he has a fairy. He does not, so gonna have to restart this fight again, unfortunately. So were there any fun or hilarious enemy layouts you noticed? One of the ones we really liked was the 3 fire snakes, or no, 3 fire bars and 2 fire snakes in the Eastern Palace Dark Room.
Yeah, that was a fun room. I enjoyed that one.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah, I gotta say the eight-eyed Moldorm was quite interesting too.
I'm actually doing a really nice job of avoiding all these hits with just one heart left. Basically, anything at this point can kill him, so being very, very careful and very efficient at dodging all the fire bats. And with that, Ganon goes down for Elminster. And he'll be finishing his run in second place with a time of 2 hours, 8 minutes, and 19 seconds. Get your GGs in chats.
GG, well played.
So while we see if Elminster is going to join us, I hope you guys enjoy the Randomizer credits, which basically has all the character sprites you know and love changed into very interesting looking creatures, as we are being joined by Elminster. GG, congrats on finishing. How are you feeling after that seed?
Kind of annoyed. I don't know. Like most of it I was okay with how I did. But the end of the seed was just linear trash, and me dying to the Lionel in Uncle Passage caused me to put off Hyrule Castle for a long time.
Right.
I was intending to do it right there and then, but I died, and I was like, well, you know, maybe let's go somewhere else for now. And that flute basically had everything behind it. Like, I was running around without a sword for a whole hour. I wanted to go into T-Rock, but I couldn't open it because I didn't have a sword. Like,
Yeah. And who knows where those other two were? Probably Ganon's Tower, but still, like, just...
yeah,
just
early
not
Big Key
coming.
wasn't great for that either. Also, my controller was malfunctioning at several points during the run. So, like, the first death to blind was my fault, but the second one, where I went in with full hearts,
Right.
my controller was stuck holding an upright input, and I couldn't pause the game, so I just walked into the spikes for 9 hearts of damage, and then tried to do the fight on 2, and that didn't work out.
Okay, yeah, we were wondering what was happening there, and yeah, a lot of chat assumed it was definitely a malfunction of some kind, so yeah, definitely rough, especially with that fight. Not a lot you can do about that, unfortunately.
I had that happen in Aghanim 1, although it wasn't as noticeable because I didn't actually miss any hits because of it. It also happened on Ganon, that's why I walked into the fire bats.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, you pretty much spoke volumes for how this seed went. Once you got that flute, it was stupid how linear it was. I hate using that word, but still, like, really, it just one item to the next item to the next item. And the hints were also fairly useful as well. Like, especially the Mimic Cave one. I'm sure that one definitely kind of played in your mind as you found that one.
Yeah, I liked that one. Like, I saw that one and I was just like, oh, well, it makes a lot of sense why this seed is so dry now.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, and it was actually very interesting because Drac actually did not go into pod to make that dip. So you were the only one that had that information for a very, very long time. But again, just the nature of the seed, once he did get the flute, like, he was able to get the sword and the fire rod, which were literally the only two components that you needed for Turtle Rock at that point. And ended up getting that hook shot regardless, but it was definitely some good information to have that early on.
Yeah, it was nice. I was able to kind of go straight there, and was hoping to try and get the boots before I had to do some of the other dungeons. Was lucky to find them in Swamp at least, but well, maybe not so lucky. Like, that was really late into the seed. That was after go mode. But like, when I saw where the flippers were, and I realized how linear the chain was to go mode. What was it? It was, yeah, flute to fire rod and sword to
hook shot and ice rod, pretty much.
And then the cape was somewhere. Yeah, the cape was on Vitreous, which required the hook shot because hook shot was needed across the gap because boots were in Swamp. So, yeah, cape to bow. To flippers, like, that's actually an insanely long chain. And as soon as I saw where the flippers were, my heart just sank because I knew I'd wasted a lot of time before getting the flute, and it all traced back to the flute.
Yeah. I actually forgot, did you, like, I know Drac didn't, but did you actually check and see what green pendant was?
I didn't. I was going to do that right after pod.
Okay, but yeah, but at that point, it's like, well, I need to get going, so...
Yeah, so, like, I saw flippers. If I didn't see flippers in on the pod boss, then I was going to fake flipper into ice so that I could read the hint tiles.
Okay.
I was planning on doing that for quite a while, but it just never came into play.
Yeah, because we were definitely speculating that, like, oh, well, maybe a sword upgrade or boots would be on Sahasrahla. That could actually kind of, even things out a bit more than it kind of was at that point. Because, yeah, unfortunately, it just was one of those cases where, because of the flute's location and what it led to, pretty much whoever found that first was going to have a huge advantage. But, definitely hoping for something to come of that because it was right there and went pretty much unchecked.
Yeah, kind of tantalizing how close it came. I was actually kind of regretting not trying to kill Helmasaur before walking to Pod in Eastern because of that, but didn't end up being a super big deal. So I saw people towards the end talking about the hint that said that a unique item requires a hook shot.
Right.
That was probably boots.
Yes, because there's always one hint that's boots related, from what I remember.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was the boots hint. The hint actually made me check out the back of Swamp Palace because I thought the boots would be in there because of that hint.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I didn't think of it, but if I was thinking of it, then that would have also pushed me to Swamp first. I don't really know why I went there first, but yeah. So I was actually thinking that when I found half magic in Hookshot Cave, I was thinking that's what it was pointing to, but it was probably the boots. Oh yeah, there was shovel in there too, so I just kind of wrote it off at that point.
Right.
But since there is a guaranteed boots hint, then that's still kind of on the table.
Yeah, and in general, like, there's always the chance for multiple items to be locked behind that same wall anyway, so even if you do find something, it's still kind of valuable to keep that insight in mind just in case, because you never know how it's gonna, you know, play out. But yeah, definitely a good game to both of you guys. It was a very entertaining race to watch. Had a lot of fun checking this out. That was game 1, chosen by Dracarys. Elminster, you have game 2. Have any idea when that game's going to be yet? Do you have the settings picked out for that yet? Anything you can relay to all the viewers out there who kind of want to see the continuation of this?
Oh, settings. I have ideas for what I want to pick for settings.
Mm-hmm.
For my other games too, but I don't necessarily want to reveal that quite yet.
That's fair.
Let's see. Yeah, Randomizer, I have to say, is really fun. The way it makes you rethink every room, so it's really fun to watch as well. I had a lot of fun coming up with creative solutions to some of the rooms. And I don't think it's a bad. I don't think it would be a bad pick for me. I did pick it against Cadenza, and the reasons I lost that were not because of Randomizer, but yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see. I don't know when I'm gonna schedule a Drac again, but I'm planning on scheduling the others in my group Wednesday night, Thursday morning, probably ish.
Okay, good to know. It is still very, very early in the tournament. I believe both of you only have 2 matches done, so there's still 13 more on the table for you guys. So best of luck moving forward and in the rest of your matches.
Thank you. I'm glad there are so many left. It feels bad being 0-2 already.
Okay, well, any last words from either of you before we start wrapping this up?
Oh, thanks for the restream, and GG to Elminster.
Yeah, GG. I've said about everything I wanted to.
Okay, well, with that, I guess we will start wrapping this up. Thank you to all of you guys for watching. Major thanks to our runners, Dracarys and ElminsterRTA, for putting on this amazing show. Thanks to our tracker for this race, Slowpoke, for keeping everything up to date in a very fast manner. There was nothing slow about it at all, so good job on that front. And of course, thanks to my commentary partner, Danny, for calling this with me. It was a lot of fun, and I hope you had fun with your first commentary.
Yeah, I gotta say it was pretty fun, but it was very nervous, and I'm still nervous, so yeah. But I had a great time.
Well, awesome. With that, I guess we'll catch you guys later. As for upcoming matches, let me just very quickly look at the schedule, see what we got going on. I believe we have a match that started recently here. Yes, on Speed Gaming 3, we actually have Hitsuyan1337 versus Supernin Taylor. They are doing an all dungeons standard Uncle Assured hard mode with no variation. So if you want to check out the action there, head on right over there. And it's actually a double header. So right after that, they'll be doing game 2 of that same matchup. So if you want to see how that series is going to progress, head on over there. But until then, this is Slim Kirby going to say sayonara to all of you and see you guys for more Randomizer in the future.